Hi, I'm Superintendent Darryll McCall from the Wachusett Regional School District. On today's episode of Wachusett Now, we'll be visiting with Principal Kathy McCall from Paxton Center School. After that, we'll take a short visit to the high school where we will be visiting with Principal Bill Biendo and looking at some of the science and technology spaces available to them. So Kathy, we're here in a grade 6 classroom, and one of the things that I've noticed right off the bat is just the amount of technology that is in the classroom. We have Chromebooks, there's an in-focus projector with a smartboard. Can you talk a little bit about how technology is used in the grade 6 classrooms?
Sure. We have, in this room specifically, this is a math classroom for 6th grade. The teacher has something that's actually called a Mobi, and she can actually write on it like a tablet and remotely write on the smartboard. And the students, and she can put up any kind of problem. There's some problems up there right now that the students can respond to. She also has, she uses the Chromebooks, and we've actually been collecting Chromebooks every year. Actually, for our magazine drive, we raise money specifically for Chromebooks, and several classrooms have them now. But this teacher uses every day a component of their math program is doing something on the internet through our math program. Students can work independently on different math assignments, and she could check in and gather information and data on how students are doing and really individualize the progress that students are making.
Yeah, and that's, I think you just said it, the individualization that you can really use with a student and with technology. So that's an example of grade 6. How is it used throughout the rest of the school?
We have an iPad cart in 7th and 8th grade that's mainly used for research, in social studies. We have Chromebooks in our ELA class in 6th grade and in 7th and 8th grade, and students have often the option of either writing by hand or using one of the Chromebooks. We also have about 3 or 4 desktop computers in every classroom in the whole school, K to 8.
Yep.
And we have 3 lab areas. We have a general lab that's set up as a lab where kindergarten through 8th grade can come to use the space.
Yep.
We have library set up like a lab where teachers sign out and use the space. And then we have a 7th and 8th grade, a sci-tech class that has a computer bank as well. And research, writing, pretty much from starting in 5th grade up through 8th grade, almost every finished product that any student in this school does ends up on Google Docs.
Yes.
So it's something students can work on at home, they can work on it at school. The teachers can go right into an assignment and give feedback to the individual child that's right on their piece of writing. They can collaborate with each other.
So having the opportunity really to work with the same group of students, kindergarten through 8th grade, with technology must be beneficial ultimately to the teachers and to the administration.
A few years ago, we changed our setup of staffing, and we got rid of a band teacher, and the music teacher actually does all the chorus and band, but we were able to hire a half-time technology teacher.
Right.
And currently, it's actually our kindergarten teacher, which works out fabulous. So she actually teaches kindergarten half day, and then she does technology the other half day. And so she takes kindergarten through 5th grade students in on a regular basis, and they're learning keyboarding, how to search, how to edit, how to find things on the internet and determine if this is useful information, and she was doing programming, all different kinds of projects that they're learning in K to 5 in the technology class.
Oh, great.
That they are then coming up into our middle school and being able to implement as a part of their instruction.
And you already mentioned the library. I think that might be a nice place to visit next. So do you mind if we go over there?
I don't mind, but there's a book fair going on.
Okay, so we'll go visit the book fair as well.
Yeah, we can go
All
over
right.
there.
Thank you. So Kathy, we're here in your media center, and you're having a book fair, which is really nice. Can you talk a little bit about the library and the media center and how it works in a K-8 building?
Okay, well, right now there is a book fair going on, and this is actually being run by parents, and all of the classes will come in. There's some boxes up here where teachers get to say, oh, this is a book I'd like to have in my classroom, and parents actually come in and they will donate that book to the teacher's classroom.
Oh, that's a great way to do it.
Any of the proceeds that we get from this book fair will directly go to the library. It buys library books in the library. And we not only have library books, and here we have computers, so it is a media center. It's mostly used probably by 5th through 8th grade. We have a whole bank in that direction of computers, and they use it for, again, writing, researching projects, any Google-based docs that they're working on, we use in here all the time. This library is usually used all the time. When we're not having a book fair, the kindergarten through 4th grade students come in to take for library class.
Yes.
And right now that's being run by parents as well. We have a whole cadre of parents that come in and volunteer their time for a few hours a day and help the kids take out books, help them, they sit and read the story to them. Talk about what you do and how you act and what a library is for. They learn all those kinds of things. They teach the parents also try to connect with the classroom teachers and say, what types of topics are you studying? You know, are you learning about the explorers?
So
let's get our explorer books out so that we are using not only the computers as research, but the books and everything that's available in this room.
Excellent.
It's used quite a bit.
Quite a bit, right. And also I noticed that there's a great courtyard right off of the library. I'd love to take a walk out there and talk a little bit about that as well.
Sure.
Okay, great. So we're outside in this beautiful courtyard, which is right outside of the media center, Kathy. And you know, one of the things that happens here at Paxton is you've really done a great job incorporating the outside into the everyday learning experiences for the kids. I know they take a trip to Ferry Beach. Can you talk a little bit about the different experiences that the kids have here in the school?
As much as we can, bringing education outdoors. This is one courtyard. We have 2 courtyards. This one, what surrounds us here is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And our 7th and 8th grade ELA teacher I've seen out here, and students are writing poetry or writing other prose that they work on. They might work independently or in groups. Behind us on the ground, there's a science experiment going on. My science and sci-tech teacher comes out here quite often, and they learn about plants that are out here, deciduous and coniferous plants. They have an experiment going on. Behind us here is actually a compost station, and at different years we have had things grow out of there, pumpkins and whatnot that have been composted in there. In the past, we've actually taken kitchen waste that was compostable and put in here to use in some of the gardens. We have another courtyard that younger kids go in, and we had in the spring we had the 5th graders were all dressed up, did research about different characters in history, and they dressed up as that person and pretended they were that person. So we had a living history museum in that courtyard. We have gardens in that courtyard and also out front of the school where different grade levels have adopted the garden. So each spring and fall they clean it up and replant it and take care of what's growing in there. So it's a nice combination. We have, in terms of also being outside, our PE teacher spends as much time as possible outside, and we have the fields that we use, the town fields that we use. Also, you mentioned Ferry Beach. Our 5th graders every year go up to the ecology school up in Saco, Maine, and they spend a week up there learning about all kinds of ecosystems that are along the ocean. So there is a nice amount of
integration.
Yes, bringing education outdoors.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you know, I know the other courtyard is a little larger than this one. And all these courtyards were because the school was ultimately built over time. So there were different sections were built. You know, I also noticed that you also have, I think it's the senior center that was at the original school that was connected to this building. Are you going to give me a test on the history now?
Well, let's see how I do. Well, it's called Paxton Center School.
Yes.
Because there were about 5 different schools spread around the town of Paxton before 1880.
Okay.
And so it was then centered, the senior center. It's the white building because it's white. And it was brought there. That's a kind of a center. I believe that opened in, I think, like 1890 or something like that, and that became the original school.
Wow.
And that was a K-12 school, and they've each I think there was a 1950s building project, there was a 1970s building project, so each section of the building when you walk around looks a little bit different than the other sections of the building. But I believe that this 8th grade, this graduating class in 2016 will be the 115th 8th grade graduation
From Paxton Center?
in Paxton, in the town of Paxton.
That's fantastic.
So how did I do on my history test?
That's
good.
You did very
All
well.
right,
You
good.
did very well. I'll give you an A on that.
All right,
Kathy.
thank you. All right.
So, in terms of other places within the school, one place I would like to show the audience is the cafeteria. So,
Okay, yep.
let's take a trip over there.
That's a multi-use room.
Okay,
Sure.
great.
Okay.
So, Kath, we're in the cafetorium.
Yes.
And this is a great space. I know I've been here for many town meetings. And one of the things that's great about this space is that this is a place where you bring all of your students together. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you a little bit about today was the concept of a K-8 building and just the benefit that the kids get from being in the same space for 9 years.
Well, I'll start with this room. It was the auditorium, it was the gymnasium, there were basketball hoops, we still have one left up in here, so it was
Right.
everything when the school was first built. And now it's just our cafeteria and our auditorium. So we do come together, we'll have music concerts in here with our middle school. We have a middle school chorus and band.
Yes.
We have a chorus and band for 5th grade, a 6th grade, a 7th and 8th grade one. And so the younger students will come and see those performances.
Yep.
In addition to other events that we have in here. We have, at each quarter, we have an award ceremony. So we have a K-2 ceremony, we have a 3 to 5, and then we have a 6 to 8 ceremony where we acknowledge students' achievements and demonstration of character.
That's great.
And we have, in terms of the K-8, I love working here. I have worked in many other configurations, and I love the K-8. To know when I sit at graduation and watch an 8th grader walk across the stage and say, I've known that child for a long time. So right now, I have been here for 8 years. So the 7th graders started with me, and to see them and to see the growth that they've made. And when they get to 8th grade, we require them to have community service.
Yes.
And in order to graduate, they have to do 10 hours of community service. And that could be in this building, it could be in the community,
Yep.
it could be, they work in daycares, they work at the animal shelters, they help their older neighbors rake leaves, all kinds of things. Every day right now we have, I think, 5 or 6 8th graders that take their lunch and give up their lunch and recess time with their peers to go into a classroom. They work with
that's
first
nice.
graders,
Yeah.
2nd graders, 3rd graders, they read to them, they help them with their math.
That's great.
Those kinds of
Yeah.
things. So the community service has really kind of come around to bringing the school together as a whole, where the 8th graders are, because they're trying to meet their community service requirements, are spending time with the younger students. And
So it's really coming full
it's
circle.
coming full circle. It's very exciting. And the younger kids just get so excited to see the older kids if they
Yeah.
come into their classroom, or if they come into an event and the older kids are in there. And we have to keep talking about that you're a role model to younger students.
Right.
But I think it develops a real community here.
Yeah.
You're here for a long time. Something we started this year to bring everybody. We've long tried to figure out what can we do in terms of expecting the same type of behavior and having the same language K-8, because the way you deal with behavior or character development with a kindergarten with a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old is very different than what you do with an 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old.
Right.
So this year we have adopted Panthers Be the 3, and it stands for respectful, responsible, and reliable.
Okay.
And the signs are up all over the school,
Yes,
and
yeah.
even on the bus. What does it mean to be respectful, responsible, and reliable on the bus, or in the cafeteria, or in the hallways? The signs are everywhere, and the teachers use that language all from K-8 with the
So by
students.
having that built into the vernacular, the kids are really taking it,
Yes.
to another level by
Yes.
just making it part of their everyday activities.
They've
So-
told me, they will come in if there's been something happen at recess. I've had kids come in and say, I don't think I was being responsible. Or they like
Yeah.
to say that other people were not
Right.
being responsible or reliable.
Exactly.
But they're using that language.
Right,
And so when
right.
we do the award ceremony that I mentioned, we also recognize them for those character traits.
That's great.
The teachers will nominate a student in their class that has demonstrated respectful behavior, and actually will write down what did they do, what actions did they have that made me think that they demonstrate respectful behavior.
Well, it's nice, right, and you're recognizing those students while at the same time allowing other students to have some role models associated
Right.
with character education.
Right. And when we first started doing the awards, I really thought the middle school kids weren't going to like that because it's embarrassing to have an award or be called out for being on honor roll or perfect attendance.
Yeah, kids don't always like to be
right. They don't like
noticed
to
at
be
that
singled
age.
out by middle
Right.
school, but that's not the case. They do like that. They
Yes, yeah.
they work towards getting recognized for honor roll. They
Yep.
work towards being recognized for being respectful or responsible or reliable.
Yeah.
So that's been a really nice K-8. Same kind of language,
Yeah.
same set of expectations.
And I think that's one of the things that can be a challenge for a building this size because this building, if you've been to Paxton Center School, is deceptively large compared to some of the other schools. So when you look at the outside of the building, you don't realize that there are layers upon layers of the building as you go through.
Right.
So it's quite interesting to see just the size. And Kathy, it looks like the kids are coming in now.
Yep.
So what we'll do is move on to a different space
Okay.
and talk a little bit about curriculum.
All right,
So Kathy, do you want to talk a little bit about the K-8 curriculum? I know it's a really special opportunity for teachers to be able to work in the same building with students who are 5 years old all the way up to 13 and 14 years old. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, a few people that it greatly impacts it are the related arts people, art, music, and PE. They have to develop a curriculum that goes not only horizontally from September to June, but they also need to do it vertically. So you have a student in kindergarten, you have to keep upping what the instruction is all the way up through 8th grade. The same teacher has to keep those students engaged for 9 years and keeping the curriculum to be challenging. Another thing that comes into play that we've done here is we have a leadership team, which is a cross-section of all the teachers. And they've worked this year on looking at some effective teaching strategies, giving students effective feedback, using formative assessments, teaching students how to understand metacognition, how I learn.
Yes.
And our leadership team are doing a series of seminars with the rest of our teaching staff. So to find things that will apply to when I'm trying to do professional development or talk about curriculum, I have teachers that are teaching 9 different grade levels,
Right.
5 or 6 different subject areas,
Right.
and I don't want to waste their time. I want it to be valuable to them and useful to when they go into the classroom. So looking at things like effective feedback and formative assessment, looking at things that cross all of our grade levels and all of our subject areas, that's what we try to do on all of our professional development days.
Yep.
Our leadership team has also, in the past, done some peer coaching of each other. They've gone into each other's classrooms.
Yeah.
So a 3rd grade teacher, actually a 5th grade teacher went into an 8th grade teacher science class. The 5th grade teacher wanted to see what does science look like 3 years later.
Exactly.
Let me go in and see what it looks like. And we've had a 2nd grade teacher went into a 3rd grade teacher's classroom to say, when I send the students up to 3rd grade, what is that? What are your expectations for curriculum and for behavior, and what is the format of the class?
So you're really fortunate in the sense that you have the opportunity for teachers to look ahead to be able to say, okay, somewhere down the road, this is where my student who is in 2nd grade now will be when they're in 7th and 8th grade. So thinking about expectations and the curriculum and so forth, it's a very special opportunity for the teachers here as well. So
yes, it is.
It is. Well, you know what, Kathy, thank you very much for allowing us to come in today. And what I'd like to do is now go to the high school where we will be talking with Principal Bill Biando and taking a look at some of the science and technology spaces at the high school. So I'm here with Principal Bill Biando in the Library Media Center. And Bill, I know there's quite a bit of technology in this space, and there is technology in the high school. Can you talk a little bit about how you've kind of utilized the technology? This is a 10-year-old building now. What's been going on? How have you been using that over the past few years?
Sure. When the school was completed 9-10 years ago, it was kind of at that unfortunate time where wireless wasn't quite at the forefront of what schools were looking for. And I think we missed that curve by a little bit, where the school was not built for Wi-Fi at that time, or the reconstruction didn't include Wi-Fi. So a couple of the steps we had to take right away was that, of course, all the classrooms were equipped with Ethernet access for teachers to plug in, but our classrooms don't have computers. And our teachers, for the most part, move between classes depending on what they're teaching. So a teacher might move after period 1 to period 2 to a different location. So what we had to do, or what we've done, is we provided every teacher with a laptop. So those laptops then plug into a projector system in all the classrooms. And these projector systems, in combination with the laptops, are what teachers use for instruction, whether it be to get online, to show class notes, whether it be to show a video clip or anything that they can find as a resource for their class or for their lesson. And there's not really too many classrooms you can walk into at any given time where that's not being accessed.
Right, yeah. I've seen it firsthand when we've walked around the building.
Sure.
Now, you also have learning labs, computer labs throughout the building as well?
Yeah, we have a few labs. Certainly the one that is probably more popular, I shouldn't say that, I guess they're both very popular. One is the graphic arts classroom, which is a lab, but it's also a classroom where we teach in there every period of the day. We have two teachers that split that space, and it's maxed out to its capacity. Cutting edge, maybe a couple-year-old software and 3 or 4-year-old computers, so we're pretty happy with what we have down there for product.
Right.
But upstairs on the second floor, we have a lab that most of our students are able to access, the foreign language lab.
Yes.
And if you take a language, it's a good place to go. Teachers utilize it for kids to speak, and it gets recorded. You put headphones on and kids can hear the native language being spoken, or I should say the target language being spoken. So it's used for a variety of reasons there, and including assessments. Can be done
Not like
as
the
well.
language labs that we grew up with
No, totally
way back
different.
when, with the tape machines and so forth.
Totally different.
So I also know we're bringing on a computer teacher over the next, hopefully a few months, and you'll be putting together another computer lab as well.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. We have kind of a one door closes, one door opens, where last year we had to, 2 years ago, we had to cut a teacher, so we have this beautiful space that we're going to kind of reconfigure to make it into a lab for hopefully 28 to 30 kids to take all sorts of programming classes. So with the budget passing recently, and we were fortunate enough to, we're actively seeking a teacher.
Good.
And the computers are in, ready to go. So for second semester, we already have a course list of classes that this person will be teaching. We actually already have kids signed up to enter the classes.
Oh, great.
And interestingly enough, we have a partnership program where this will fall under. It's already become the most popular partnership for next year, not for second semester, but for next year.
I'm sure. So in terms of Wi-Fi in the building, I know you mentioned earlier this building wasn't built with Wi-Fi.
Right.
So we've had to add it over the years. How is Wi-Fi used right now?
Sure. Mainly, the larger meeting areas in the school, whether it be meeting areas for the adults or for the students, we've tried to equip with Wi-Fi accessibility. So certainly the biggest one for us right away, believe it or not, is the cafeteria.
Right.
And that's where we have most of our kids, that's where we have the biggest group of kids at one time throughout the day. Not for lunches, because we don't want kids to access technology during lunch. We'd rather them talking to their peers. But it's for every other period where we do have studies there, and kids are accessing technology to do whatever they need to do for homework or for research or for whatever that is. So certainly in the cafeteria, this beautiful space is another one, the media center, where students can come down and access, whether it's some of the computers that we have on site here, or if they have their phones and whatnot, that's appropriate usage. This is another place to do that. And again, the auditorium would be another place.
Yes.
And we have another classroom that's a large meeting area that we have a lot of our professional development meetings, so it's nice to have access there for our adults and kids if they're there for other types of meetings as well.
You mentioned the library here, the Library Media Center. I know this is one of the places where kids come and gather. They work during the school day, after school.
Sure.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Probably, right on Main Street, probably one of the most iconic sites of the school. As you drive by, you see this rounded building, rounded piece of the building, and when you come in, it's certainly one of the nicer parts of the building as well. It's open from 7 o'clock in the morning, typically till 3:30 in the afternoon, which is a half hour before school starts and an hour after school, a little more than an hour after school. So kids can access before and after. To come down and do some research. They do a lot of printing or whatever else they can do that they might not have gotten done or couldn't access at home.
Yep.
And certainly we have support of a library aide and also a library media specialist here with incredible resources as far as hardcover books and things of that nature. Or we have labs and other places, other things in here that they can access as well. Or a quiet place just to do some work and study. It's such a nice spot.
It's a wonderful spot. I know all the school committee meetings are here, so
Yeah.
I've spent many hours here. I'd love to talk a little bit with your library media specialist.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm here with Elana Stern, the library media specialist here at Wachusett. And Elana, can you tell us a little bit about what you do here in the library and some of the different options that kids have during the day?
Sure. Part of what I love about the Library Media Center is that it gives me an opportunity to work with all of the disciplines that we teach here at the high
Right.
school.
Yep.
So art, music, science, English, social studies, I get to see everybody in here. We open before school every day at 7 o'clock, and we're open after school until 3:30, so an extra hour, and then some after school to provide tutoring. The National Honor Society provides tutoring after school here.
Yep.
And during the day, we have 3 computer labs where we're able to have classes reserve time to come down and work on their
Great.
projects.
That's great. Now, we're here after school right now, and there are kids here. Is this something that's pretty typical, before school and after school?
Yes, this is one of the busiest places in the school before the bell rings in the morning. Every time anyone comes in here in the morning, I think they're kind of shocked. We're just packed to the brim with kids
Right.
checking out books, working
Yep.
on homework, just hanging out. And then after school, we do have students after pretty much every day.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
In reference to this is an interesting time in terms of being a library media specialist, because you have all this technology, yet still behind us we have all the stacks.
Right.
So how do you really put those two together for the kids and the staff?
Well, I really think the media and library media specialist is important. We focus on all comprehensive learning, where
Yep.
students are receiving not only technology education, how to work online, how to communicate with their teachers and other adults respectfully, how to evaluate information, but also how to use the index of a book, how to find
Right.
information independently using a library media catalog,
Yep.
so that they can be independent learners.
Exactly. And I don't see any Dewey Decimal card catalogs anywhere, so
No, it's all
Nope.
online,
Nope.
accessible anywhere with an internet connection, including smartphones.
That's
so
really
we have
nice.
a cool system right now.
So in terms of technology, how do the kids utilize technology during the day?
During the day, we are a Google school.
Yep.
I think most people know that.
Yep.
So all of our students have a Google account that's their own WRSD K-12 account,
Right.
and they can communicate with their teachers that way. They can share documents, they can create presentations, and we find that allows us to use less paper, which is a little more environmentally responsible, and also allows the efficiency of communication.
And I'm sure they use them for research and so forth.
Yes, absolutely. We have some great databases here. I just taught all of the freshman seminar classes how to
Great.
use our databases and to expedite their research efficiently and citing it appropriately, of course, as well.
Excellent. Well, good. I mean, it's a wonderful space, and it's really great to hear about all the wonderful things that are going on
Yes,
here at the library.
I'm very proud to be the librarian at this high school.
Well, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks for being here.
And thank you very much for joining us, and I'll see you again on Wachusett Now.